Halo for the PC, Rogops for the GameCube, and the Nokia NGage. All right, the first game we're going to talk about is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six III.
Excuse me?
Rainbow Six III.
Rainbow 63?
I know it's weird. From Ubisoft for the Xbox. Now, the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game started on the PC, and this, although you would think, is a direct port from Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six III Raven Shield, which came out last year on the PC.
Rainbow 63?
No, it actually isn't.
There's a huge following for these style of games. I mean, you know,
Yep.
these are kind of like, you know, the covert ops style games where you're commanding a team behind you,
Right.
and basically telling them to have all the fun.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's true.
It's
like, you know,
a tactical, squad-based action game.
Look, I get all my guys to do the dirty work for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just send them out like meat puppets that they are and have them take all the bullets. Clear the room! Yeah, boom, boom, boom. They're getting shot. And I'm like, okay, is it clear yet? They're like, yeah. They're half dead. I'm like, okay, cool, now I can walk in. Dun-de-dun-de-dun.
On the PC, these games have traditionally been extremely complex. You have
Extremely realistic.
very realistic, but you have to sort of plot and plan every little detail in your missions. You have to completely configure your team allotment. You have to pick the squad members that are going to come with you. You have to outfit them with the weapons that they're going to need.
So for us casual gamers, you may find that a bit boring.
Well, on the Xbox, what they've done is they've simplified all of that. They've really
Yes.
consoleized the experience. You can basically press start and you're playing, which is, I think, both a good and a bad thing. But one of the things that it introduces to the Xbox that we haven't seen before is the ability, like Tommy says, to command your AI teammates. And it's a very, very, very smart way that they've put this together. You can
Through the headset.
You can actually tell them to go up to a door and say, open and clear. If you're pointing at a door, they'll rush right to that door, open it, start firing at all the bad guys on the
Well, it
other
would
side.
be awesome if it worked all the time.
It works
But
pretty darn well, I gotta
It doesn't work
say.
all the time. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there watching you play
Right.
and listening to you play saying, open door, open door, open door.
The developers pull in a lot of the Tom Clancy written background story stuff. So the characters that you're playing in this game are actually characters that have been used in Tom Clancy's books. You actually take control of a guy named Ding Chavez. It's a great idea for a name for your new baby out there if you're
They
thinking
couldn't think of a better name than Ding.
You can also order your other squad mates to do specific things for you.
Well, one of the things, though, about these games that I always liked was the fact that at any time you could switch
Right.
into any other member of your team.
Right,
I'm
bounce around.
stuck with Ding.
You are Ding. And
I don't
once-
want to be Ding.
I love the visual effects in this game, man. There are so many gorgeous things to look at.
Oh, one of my favorites was the heat vision, that whole thermal vision
Oh, yeah.
thing.
My only regret is that they've taken away some of the complexity. I'm still going to give this a great score, 9.5 out of 10.
And I'm going to give it an 8.
On the positive side, this game features incredible visual effects. The audio and sound effects will really pull you into the experience. But the best part of all is the very, very rich and deep multiplayer gameplay.
On the negative side, although it's a great added feature, you may have some difficulty with the voice recognition. I would have liked to have been able to go into the different characters on my team instead of just being Ding. And for all you tactical squad-based freaks out there, this one isn't as complex as some of the other ones.
All right, now that was a PC game that got ported to the consoles. Now we have a console game that's on the PC, and this one's called Halo. You ever heard of it? No?
No.
Halo Combat Evolved from Microsoft.
Halo is a great game, but to me, if you have Halo, I don't know if there's enough to make you want to go out and buy Halo. I think this game is more for the people who've never played Halo
Absolutely,
before.
but the thing that's interesting about this particular game, it started out as a PC game. It really deserved to be a part of the PC world and be given to that audience as well. And
Upon launch.
upon launch, but
2 years have passed.
isn't Halo 2
Right.
at all. You get the single-player game. It's pretty much exactly the same as the Xbox game. So if you played single-player Xbox, the only thing that's different here now is you'll be able to use the mouse and keyboard, and it's a preferable type of control for first-person shooters.
When you play Halo with a mouse and keyboard,
Yes.
the gameplay goes down a lot because it's a lot easier to play with a mouse and keyboard.
I agree.
And so you really have to go into the PC version and bring the difficulty level up.
The other thing that you'll notice too, if you play a lot of PC first-person shooters, Halo, the pace of the game is built for the console as well. And not only is the control built to sort of, you know, make it a little more forgiving for moving the reticle around, but now when you're playing on the PC and you can whip around a lot quicker, you'll notice that it's slower.
If you have your graphics turned all the way up, this is going to chug on you. And
Yeah, it
again, 2 years after the fact, you know, why wouldn't somebody just buy this on the Xbox if they had an Xbox? Which I
Agreed.
think everybody did.
The graphics still look amazing. All of the reflective sheen on the alien worlds and landscapes, all of the foliage, the aliens look fantastic. Let's start talking about multiplayer now, because that's really what people want to know about. And that's where the most new additions are in this game. First of all, there is no multiplayer co-op in Halo on the PC.
Which was a disappointment, because that was really fun.
Yeah, you could play two-player on the Xbox, but you can't do that on the PC, which is a bit of a drag. But they've added 6 new multiplayer combat maps, so now you can have more skirmishes and more kinds of battles in more environments.
I thought one of the best additions to the multiplayer, though, was that you could actually get in and fly the
Banshees.
The Banshees.
That is the single best reason to pick up Halo on the PC. The fact that you can have dogfights over top of all of the ground-based battles is unbelievable.
There is a couple more additional weapons as well that they added for the PC version.
That's right. They've added a flamethrower. Now on the Warthogs, you actually have not just the machine gun thing, but you actually have rocket launchers on the back of the Warthog, which is insanely fun. Halo 2 is around the corner. I can't wait to see what Bungie does with that. This is a great interim step, and if you've never played Halo, you definitely have to check it out. I'm giving Halo on the PC 9 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.
On the positive side, you can now fly Banshees in multiplayer battles. The graphics in Halo look phenomenal, even 2 years later. And even though the single-player game is a ton of fun, the real story here is the brilliant multiplayer games.
On the negative side, you need a pretty smoking PC and graphics card to be able to see those awesome graphics to which my partner refers to. You can't play co-op with a buddy in single-player mode. And although it's a great translation, 2 years later, I wanted to see just a little bit more.
Hey, stick around. We're going to be right back with a brand new game from Kemco. Weren't those the guys that ruined Batman Dark Tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to be looking at Rogue Ops after the break.
Hey, one more time before we go to break.
Okay.
Damn! Still not funny?
No.
Now, in our mature-rated show today, I couldn't think of a more appropriate game than this one here for our pockets. You ready for this? This is Polly Pocket Super Splash Island. Yay! Now, the amazing thing about this game is that you actually get a little tiny Polly Pocket on a jet ski. That's great, kids. The age group on this is 3 and over. So if you're like 4, then 1, you shouldn't be watching this show. But 2, this would be a great game to play. Now, Polly Pocket's kind of like a throwback to all the old arcade games. You know, you take place in a water park and you're splashing around and you have like this game like Frogger where you have to leap on the logs and turtles. You have a bumper cars that you can go on in the water. You have a jet ski race you can do. And the whole thing is to collect tickets to go on the water slide. Woo-hoo-hoo! And there's so much fun there. So, you know, there's 6 mini games plus the water slide. There's a lot of different levels of easy, medium, and hard as well. So really, if you're 3 or if you're 33, you'll enjoy this game? Well, probably not. No, only if you're like an 8-year-old girl will you enjoy this game. So anyway, just remember, dumping is against the law, $500 fine, and Polly Pocket, Prissy Pants, Spectacular Special, whatever it's called, is going to get an 8.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk now about a game called Rogue Ops. It's from Kemco and Bit Studios. for the GameCube, which is what we played it on, but it's also on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. What do you think of this one?
I think there really must be exhausting all the possible combination of video game names at this point. Rogue, Squadron, Ops, Covert, War.
Bandicoot.
Bandicoot?
This game's a very generic sort of espionage kind of, you know, action type game. It borrows heavily.
Steals.
Borrows with quotations from Splinter Cell, Metal Gear Solid, and a little, it felt a little Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark in there.
I mean, it's mostly a rip-off of Splinter Cell.
Or you could say it that way.
If you're going to rip off a game, you might as well rip off Splinter Cell. But,
Absolutely.
But a year after Splinter Cell comes out, you better do it at least as good or better.
Right.
And this is where it falls short. If you love a game that is so hard that it's near impossible to even get by the first level because you have to look at every little tiny bit in the entire world. If you like those games,
we've got one for you.
And we've got one for you.
Yeah.
And the controls are so
awkward,
cumbersome.
Yeah, very clunky.
It's one of those things where if you finally do figure out what to do, you know in your mind that it's going to take you 2 more hours to figure out what the next little bit is, and that is not fun.
As the character, as Nikki, you actually have quite a few different kinds of moves and abilities.
She has beautiful eyes.
Right.
Nikki
really has beautiful eyes.
Beautiful blue eyes.
Should have seen. Tommy was writing a poem.
Her
he was watching me play the game.
Her legs and buns are really nice to find.
Eyes,
and I
Nikki.
tell you, Nikki's got great cans.
You can pull off. You go through this great training mission that shows you all the cool things that you can do, but when you actually get into the missions, it's just very difficult to implement what you can do. First of all, the biggest problem they made here is you can't jump at all unless you're in a very specific position. You see a little cursor, and when the cursor lights up, that means, yes, you can jump.
Well, what about that horrible voiceover, though?
I know, well, it's bad acting, but it's even compounded with the very scratchy, at least on the GameCube, I haven't heard on the other ones, but at least on the GameCube, very scratchy VO.
I know why you're here, but you're not gonna get it. Out of my way. Don't let her follow me.
They had a great concept.
The graphics are actually pretty good.
Characters
in the game.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, some of the puzzles and what you have to do.
I like the stealth kills that you can do.
Was kind of great.
The sneaky hand-to-hand combat moves that you can do are cool.
But if you don't have the controls and you make it way too cumbersome and you don't have that polish, then all that kind of goes away, and your mind focuses on all the bad stuff.
All the problems.
I got to give it a 5.5 because
That's exactly what I'm giving
I thought they had a lot of great concepts, but they fell short in the execution.
Absolutely. On the positive side, the graphics are pretty good in this game. We like all the stealth moves and abilities that Nikki can do. The missions are well thought out, and Tommy wanted me to remind you guys that Nikki has beautiful eyes, and what was that?
Nice cans.
Nice cans.
On the negative side, the controls are just way too cumbersome. The VO is horrible. And lastly, if you're going to rip off great games like Splinter Cell and Metal Gear, at least come close.
People have been asking about our opinions on the Nokia NGage for a long time, and we're going to tell you exactly what we think about the Nokia NGage. It does play games. You can play MP3s on it. You can listen to the radio on it.
This thing's a real piece of junk. I mean, I got to be honest with you.
All right.
I mean, first of all, the screen is this way.
Yeah, they blew it.
Which, you know, how many games since, like, I don't know, Centipede maybe? The reality is that most cell phones out there, you can pretty much get for free
when you sign up, right?
When you sign up for a plan, and they do email and all sorts of fun little games and stuff. But the biggest part of the crappiness that is the Nokia NGage is that this is a 300 US unit.
The games come on these little SD cards. They're about this big. You're going to lose that.
Mayday, alert, problem. In order to change your games,
you have to press down on the button there.
Press down on this button. You have to take the back off. But wait, it gets better.
You have to take it apart.
Then you take out the battery.
You have to pull the battery out of the thing.
They did a lot of research, obviously.
So you pull
Spoke
the battery.
to a lot of gamers, yeah.
And then you pull the slot out.
And then you take the cartridge out, the one cartridge.
The battery life on the thing isn't very good, so if you're playing a game for a couple hours, you're going to have to charge it again, so no more phone calls.
I mostly play my portable games on the airplane when I travel. However, I can't use this on a plane.
It's a cell phone, of course.
Because it's a cell phone. You can't even turn it on.
I will not recommend the NGage.
Neither.
On the positive side, Nokia has a very interesting idea here. There are quite a few games available for the NGage already. And if you're not a super serious gamer, you just want something in your pocket that you can play games sometimes and listen to music other times, you might want to check out the NGage.
On the negative side, the fact that you have to take off the back and take out the battery to load in every game is completely ridiculous. The screen is more vertical than it is horizontal. But the worst part about the NGage is the extremely ridiculous price point.
All right, so I guess I won't be giving you an NGage for Christmas this year then.
Nope. You're probably giving it to me the Christmas after when they've hit the $9.99 price point.
Okay, all right. We're going to be right back with a look at Ubisoft's 13. Stick around. What'd you think of PaRappa the Rappa, man, for the PlayStation?
You gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Now, this is a game that is an instant cult classic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a real innovative game. The look of it, I gotta be honest with you.
Love the flat characters walking around.
You know, PaRappa in Japanese means paper thin. I gotta admit, the first time I put this game in, I'm like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
But it is, what is it?
PaRappa the Rappa.
That's what I used to call it, Crapper the Rapper. No, after about the first 30 seconds,
Yeah.
you just fall into it, and
Yeah.
you gotta love it.
It's all about timing. You got to hit the buttons and controls at the proper time, and you get in sync with the rhythm of the music that's throughout the game, which
You
is
got
all.
the kick, punch.
Kick, punch.
Oh, yeah.
In the rain or in the snow.
In the rain, I'm in the snow.
Come on, we really got to go. In the rain or in the snow, you got to funky flow.
I hope it's a huge hit. 9.5 out of 10. Great game.
Yep, 9.5, I'm looking at it. I'd like to take this opportunity right now to talk about how hot Jessica Alba is. She's in Dark Angel, right? Well, this is the Dark Angel video game, and she's cute. Look at the front cover here. You got Jessica in black leather showing the belly. I mean, this is a buried treasure right there just for that alone. There's a really cool, fun fighting system that they kind of put together that was really unique. It was, you know, one of these games where you get into right away. It's not too complicated, the controls and everything, you know, so you're learning as you go. And it wasn't just about kicking butt. You had certain, like, missions and things to go on. And there was even a whole, like, stealth mode, too. So it was kind of like a third-person Metal Gear, but easier to control, you know what I mean? Jessica did the voiceovers for the game as well. So you get to hear her lovely, soothing voice throughout the entirety, and that's worth the price of admission right there. Now, they also have Jessica Alba photo galleries, as well as interviews with Jessica, and all things that are Jessica. Look at her face is actually on the cover twice here. Oh, she's got different outfits as well. She's got the black leather, which is always nice, but then she gets into that whole hat turned around backwards, you know, I'm gonna kick your butt outfit. So we got Dark Angel for the Xbox. They also did it for the PS2 as well. Check it out, Jessica Alba, she's hot.
All right, we're back, and we've got another great Ubisoft game to talk about. This one's called 13. It's available on the PlayStation 2, but also the Xbox, GameCube, and PC. What'd you think of this one?
Not available on the NGage, I hope.
Not on the NGage, no.
13 is an extremely unique experience. It's the first time that we see this kind of whole 3D cell shading cartoon comic book effect in a first-person shooter.
I gotta confess that when I first heard about this, I was like, okay, it's a gimmick. They're
Like Auto
cashing in.
Modelista kind of sucked.
And I was worried that, you know, for all the graphic kind of coolness that they're going to add to this, they're going to forget about the gameplay, and it's going to be a pretty routine first-person shooter. Boy, was I wrong. This game is really, you know, forget about the graphics. The gameplay is terrific in this thing. Very fast, very fluid. The controls are awesome. There's great multiplayer games. The stealth bits, as well as the sort of athletic action bits that are in this game, are fabulous.
One of the things I didn't like about the game is that when you ran out of ammo using certain weapons, it didn't automatically switch to your next weapon.
I had a problem with that too.
I would have liked to have seen it a little more arcadey style.
The other thing, too, is the artificial intelligence in some of the characters. They're pretty dumb. I mean, you'll have snipers sitting on top of a building, and they're missing you with every shot, and they're just sort of waiting to get shot.
Similar to actually the Hitman 2 storyline
Yeah,
a little bit, in that you're not exactly sure who you are, but you have this, you know, bloody tattoo. You know what I mean?
You've been framed for killing the President of the United States, and the President's brother is getting into politics and wants to someday, you know, succeed and be the president.
Very Kennedy-esque.
Very Kennedy-esque.
Yeah.
The whole premise behind this game, it's based on a French comic book of the same name, XIII.
I didn't know that.
And what they've done is they've basically emulated the comic book experience into a video game. So you're actually flipping through pages of panels of beautiful artwork. You see the sound effects. I think it's called...
Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Is it onomatopoeia? Is that right?
What?
Onomatopoeia, that's...
What are you talking about now?
Onomatopoeia is where you say this, you actually...
That's a city in Delaware.
No, ta-ta-ta-ta represents machine gun fire, okay?
I'm gonna Scrabble check you on that,
Okay,
buddy.
we'll check that one out. And then there's all kinds of panels that will pop up in the middle of your gunfights that will be zoom-in perspectives on the kills that you're making. The other thing, too, that you can do is you can grab innocent people. This sounds horrible, but you can make them hostages.
Yeah.
And you'll have
That's
all
fun.
kinds of, like, FBI people or whatever chasing you, and
That's
you can
fun.
grab a hostage.
Fun.
And as long as you're not killing innocent people, you'll
Not
be
fun.
okay. 9 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.
On the positive side, 13 features a very distinctive, very cool look. The audio in this game is as good as the graphics. But best of all, the gameplay is fun, fast, and furious. You're really going to be surprised.
On the negative side, we wish that switching weapons was a little more intuitive. The artificial intelligence on the enemies is a little bit of a letdown. And finally, if you don't like the whole cartoony cel-shaded look, you're probably going to want to avoid this one.
Today on the show, we took a look at Rainbow Six III for the Xbox. Now, we love the visual effects and the voice commands in this game, but we have to be honest, we did find some problems with the voice recognition. On the PC, we looked at Halo. This is still an awesome game with some great new multiplayer additions, but you know what? After 2 years, we were expecting a few more improvements. On the GameCube, we looked at Rogue Ops. This game has some very cool graphics and some clever animations, but the cumbersome controls and the bad voice acting ruined the experience. On the PlayStation 2, we looked at 13. This one has a very original look and some very fun gameplay, but the AI could have been a little more if you know what I'm saying. In hardware, we looked at the Nokia NGage. Now, this is a very clever idea that Nokia had here, mixing all of these elements into one device, but the vertical screen and the stupid game-changing system makes the NGage something a hardcore gamer would want to avoid. On the Game Boy Advance, Tommy reviewed Polly Pocket Super Splash Island. This is simply Tommy's favorite game of all time. I'm not kidding. Well, maybe I'm kidding. So there you have it. There's 2 great games from Ubisoft, 0 from Kemco, and
negative for Nokia.
yeah, I just feel bad for Nokia. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Tactical squad base. Now, I didn't mind much, but if you're a hardcore tactical squad-based shooter, game person lover, then